the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Martinsville Speedway. As tonight we are here for the Kabang Energy 100 as Upstate Racing League continues to march on with their season as we get deep into our regular season here tonight. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is KR Stolfus, and I have in the booth with me none other than the hardest working man I know, my best corporate pal. His name is Kelly Dahl.
Hey KR, looking forward to this race tonight, and if you're a fan of drag racing, I think you'll be looking forward to this as well, because this will essentially be, I would say, 200 drag races just constantly going off over the course of this race, because it's essentially this track is just 2 quarter-mile drag strips just hooked together by a couple turns, and Martinsville is just going to be a ton of fun tonight.
I'll tell you what, Martinsville always is a unique track no matter what car you bring to this racing surface. And you are right, it is essentially 2 drag strips. As we get ready to roll out, I gotta tell you, Stefan Marinak in that 24 machine, I'm feeling that paint job.
Yeah, Stefan Marinak going to be qualifying fairly early, much earlier than he normally does, because he has taken a couple weeks off. So I'd expect to see him put a very quick time down to start, and that's basically what's going to be the time for these guys to chase throughout this this qualifying. We also have Justin Rigsby and Dylan Canova out on the track, so a couple of fairly quick drivers that have just missed a few weeks. And there's Marinak with the first time of the night with a 19.6.
Marinak laying down a quick time. Rigsby with a 19.629. Marinak's going to be one and done. Rigsby in the fatted calf machine, trying hard to get up to Marinak just a little bit more. Can Rigsby do it here in that 99 machine? He is going to be to the top of the leaderboard. He gets it done with a 19.601.
Yeah, just barely beats out Steph Marinak, so very quick time from Justin Rigsby, and actually faster than he was even able to get out in practice. So he's figured something out just in time.
Next group already out on the speedway. That is the 12 machine of Drew Krybeck as he gets ready to lay down his qualifying effort. Across the line goes the 12, and Krybeck going to start his qualifying session. Also out on the track, that is the 6 of Joe Schaefer Jr. and AJ Rogers in the 17 machine.
And Drew Krybeck going really high through turns 3 and 4 here, so I think he's just trying to set up for that second lap, feeling that the first one was already compromised. And yeah, there was a 20.3 here, so all of it is going to come down to the second lap. Joe Schaefer Jr., though, new quick time, 19.509.
So Schaefer goes to the top of our leaderboard. AJ Rogers holding on to second spot for the moment in that 17 machine. Rigsby in third, Marinak to fourth, and right now holding on to fifth spot, that is Dylan Canova. Drew Krybeck sitting in 6th place. So 6 drivers in the books for the moment. We got quite a few drivers still to go here in our qualifying sessions.
Yeah, and Drew Krybeck tried to play the risky move of using the first lap just to warm up his tires, set up for the second lap, but he got loose off of turn 4 on that second lap, headed to the inside wall, and completely washes out that qualifying time. So I'm going to assume with a 20.3, he's going to be having to race through the LCQ.
Speedy Brissett trying to make it 3 features in a row. The 03 machine out on the Speedway.
And I believe we will be sending drivers home tonight. I think we've got a total of 30 drivers here, so there's going to be 4 that will miss the feature. And there goes Speedy Brissett, fairly decent time, 19.638. Got a few other drivers along with him. Wayne McDuff going to see what he's going to be able to do. I believe he's on his 2nd lap now. First lap wasn't too quick with a 20.1, so see what he can do on his 2nd here. Coming across the line, and we will get the results in a moment. 20.119, so he does improve slightly, but still sits outside of that 20-second mark.
Wayne McDuff gonna smack that inside wall as he shuts it down. Jeremy Watkins in the 77 machine, really doing a good job here with a festive paint scheme. I like that one a lot on that 77.
Looking at the times for Jeremy Carpenter here, I'm trying to figure out what happened with him, as seems to be another case. Looks like he just got loose off of turn 4. So it seems like it's pretty much following the exact same tire marks as Drew Kryvik did just a few moments ago. So that seems to be just a thing that these guys are gonna have to struggle with tonight, and that's just getting the power down out of these slow corners.
Matt Eddy in the 87 machine after a great qualifying showing last week at Oxford Plains, looking to build on that one as well. The 87 machine going to cross the line with a 7th quick time. Matt McLean also out there in the 88. McLean going to pip him just a little bit, and he is going to move into 7th spot. Both cars getting a little wiggly coming up off the corner, but we have 2 cars out on the track for this qualifying group, and they are running neck and neck right now.
There goes McLean with a much faster time on his 2nd lap. That's a 19.620. That will move him up into 5th. So that is a good way to start the night for that 88 machine. We got Group 5 rolling out now. Looks like Colin Phillip, Brian Rogers Jr., Al Smith Jr., and Matthew Barkos trailing right behind him.
So Colin Phillip in the 53, starting to roll out onto the super speedway. Well, by super speedway, I mean just Martinsville. It's best place for hot dogs.
And Martinsville definitely known for their hot dogs. And wasn't it a few years back they were getting rid of them, or they increased the price, and there was such a huge backlash that they had to go back on it? That was probably one of the biggest stories of Martinsville for that year. But here comes Colin Phillip, not the best time, 19.857, but at the moment still good enough to get him into the race. Al Smith with fairly decent times, 19.734. I'll take a look with the rest.
Matthew Barkhouse going to jump up into 3rd place with a 19.585. Everyone's still chasing Joe Schaefer at that 19.509 though.
Yeah, that was an extremely quick time from Schaefer, and even in the practice times when these guys were able to get their tires fully up to temperature, that qualifying time would have put him in 5th for the practice. So extremely quick time that Schaefer was able to pull out, and he was also our fastest driver in practice, so it's not too surprising that he's currently our fastest driver in qualifying.
Next group starting to roll out, the 98 of Chris Stump making his way out on the track. He is fast like your mom as he gets ready for his first qualifying effort. That 98 going to be joined by several other drivers, including the 42 of Brett Bartels.
And Brett Bartels going to be trying to get himself into this feature. Taking a look at Chris Stump coming off of turn 4 though. See what time he's going to get on his first lap, and that is, I guess he scraped the wall at some point because that time did not register, so that's going to be a problem for him.
Andy Lambert in the 8 machine, sporting a Dr. Seuss the Grinch paint scheme, looking very festive in his paint job as he puts his car for the moment in 16th spot. Bartels up to 4th. Justin McDuff in the 20 machine going to move into 8th. Chris Stump 11th, and Andy Lambert in 15th. So Stump's problems continue after tagging the wall on that first lap. And then now he's sitting in 11th. I think that does not lock him in, so he's going to have a little bit of sweating to do.
A couple drivers that are already eliminated from going straight to the main will be going through the LCQ so far. Wayne McDuff, Jeremy Watkins, Drew Krybeck, and Jeremy Carpenter. Those guys have all been bumped at the moment. They will still have a chance to make this feature, but they're going to have to race their way in. Drivers on the track now. We got Brian Hacker coming off of turn 4. He's going to try to get himself into this feature. And what is going to be the time that's going to get him into the feature? 19.594. So he moves himself into the top 5.
So Hacker in the 11 machine. A solid paint scheme on that one as well. And man, I'll tell you what, that is a great Photoshop job for Al Smith and the Elf.
I hadn't even noticed that I had my camera so far up, but I see that now on the hood, and that is definitely one of the better festive schemes we have here tonight. And a couple other drivers coming across the line now. And I don't think anyone's going to beat Hacker's time from this this run here. So Brian Hacker, a very quick time, and I think we've just got one, maybe two more groups left here.
The next set of drivers starting to form up. 51 of Justin Fuller making his way out onto the track. Justin Fuller picking up the win last week at Oxford Plains. That was a great race in our opinion, Kelly, but we weren't out on the track.
Yeah, it was a tough race for the drivers. It always is at Oxford. I think it finally reached a boiling point last week where everyone kind of finally said, all right, that's enough of Oxford. Maybe we shouldn't come here again, but hopefully we'll see it again on the schedule next season, at least for our sake. It is very good entertainment, but I'm sure the drivers do not like it. But here comes Justin Fuller across the line. See if he's going to be able to carry over what he did last week, and that is a good start. Oh, but a new quick time from Guillaume Fortin, 19.503, and another one, Mike Alexander, 19.481. So some extremely fast times from this group here. We have Alexander, Fortin, Fuller, and Martin all getting themselves into the top 5.
Gareth Gonder in the 81 machine posting a 6th quick time. So everyone in this group really laid down a very fast lap time, and it has allowed them all to make it straight into the A main. How about that? Mike Alexander, Guillaume Fortin, a Canada lockout of 1st and 2nd place here in qualifying. Who knew you guys were so good, Kelly?
I guess at this track, Canadians are fast. Well, some of them. I'm certainly not good at Martinsville, but these two guys, Alexander and Fortin, going to be up towards the front. However, because of the invert, they'll be starting 8th and 7th respectively. So still going to have to make a few passes, but if they're able to carry this speed on to the main event, there is going to be some great battles up front. But just looking at the whole kind of top 8 here that's going to be inverted, they are all very close in time. So I think this is shaping up already to be a very exciting race, and we still have the LCQ to look forward to.
Yeah, we do. So qualifying done and wrapping up. Mike Alexander going to be your quick time award winner in his 75 machine. And man, I'll tell you what, we're getting ready for the LCQ. Going to be a great race. So while we have a moment, we are going to step away. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Butt Kicker. Feel what you've been missing. Arts Barbershop. R&R Auto.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the drivers get ready for the LCQ here at Martinsville Speedway. We are going to be sending some of our drivers home. Kelly, you have more on that. I believe we're starting 26, but how does it all work out here tonight?
So as we've gone over, our top 16 from qualifying are locked in. Everyone else now goes on to the LCQ. That is going to be 12 laps. Top 8 from the LCQ will transfer, and after that, there'll be 2 drivers that will transfer based on points. So of those that don't make the LCQ top 8, whoever's the top 2 in the points in that small group will be brought forward to the A main, and the other, I think it'll be 3 tonight, will be sent home. So 26 drivers are going to make our field, and now we are going to get lined up for this LCQ.
So as we line up for the LCQ, let's go ahead and get right into this starting lineup. On the inside of row number 1, the 70 of Dylan Canova and the 98 of Chris Stump to his outside. Row number 2 going to be made up of the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre and the 96 of Al Smith Jr. Row number 3 will be Brian Rogers in the 12 and Matt Eddy in the 87. Row number 4, Andy Lambert in the 8 and Colin Phillip in the 53. Row number 5, Wayne McDuff and Jeremy Watkins. And Kelly, I'm going to have you take over.
Rounding out the rest of our field, that's going to be the 112 of Drew Krybeck, Jeremy Carpenter in the 7, and Andrew Plank sitting shotgun on the field, starting 13th. So the big number again is 8. Top 8 are guaranteed to transfer. The other 5 drivers, the top 2 of those will transfer off points, and the other 3 will go home. So this is a race to get in. So keep an eye on that cutoff point in 8th.
As the field makes its way around this Martinsville Speedway one more time around before we let them go. A 20-lap LCQ in store for everyone. So here is a good opportunity to see some of the guys who didn't lay down the best of the best in qualifying but have some speed on them. We'll see how this plays out. Dylan Canova on the inside and Chris Stump on the outside. Kelly, take it away.
That's going to be our first view of how these cars are going to race here tonight. Dylan Canova now in control of the field, just waiting for that green flag to drop, now coming off of turn number 4. 13 cars raring to go, fighting for 8 positions. Green flag is off, and here we are racing for the first time tonight at Martinsville. Dylan Canova going to get a good run into turn 1. Chris Stump trying to get to that inside line before the 81 can, and look at Al Smith getting a good run off the corner. He's going to battle with the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre door to door at turn 3, but McIntyre going to have that preferred inside line.
So Canova out in front, Chris Stump giving chase. Then it is a battle for third. Jimmy McIntyre in the 81 on the inside. Al Smith trying to hang tough in that outside lane. And Smith, for the moment, not able to get tucked down, and Al Smith going to wash up big time there. Ooh, as the 8 of Andy Lambert locked him up to keep it off of Al Smith, and no contact there, but Andy Lambert going to walk away with a big loss there as Wayne McDuff gets pointed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, that one car goes around now, come in turns. I think that was 1 and 2. He's going to get kind of shuffled out there from the 112. Might have just been that the 112 came up a little too much into that corner and just tagged him slightly, and that sends him spinning all the way around and just kind of stuck there on that high line.
We're going to take a look at this one as the 1 machine of Wayne McDuff and the 12 of Krybeck looked like just gentle contact to start it, and then the 1 is able to stay off the wall, so that car may not be torn up too much, but with a 12-lap LCQ and a caution flag coming out, he's got a shot to get back into it, but he's going to have to hustle that 1 machine.
couple drivers though coming down pit road. That is the 87 of Matt Eddy and the 112 of Drew Krybeck. Krybeck already had an EOL penalty, so decided to come down pit road, kind of bang out that damage a little bit. I'm trying to figure out why the 87 though came down pit road. I don't know if he maybe got a little bit of damage in that as well.
I will say in one of the shots I was looking at, that 87 was torn up on the left side.
It's more than the left side. That whole front end is torn up. I'm now taking another look at it. He definitely bashed up that front end, so trying to get a little bit of damage repaired before he heads back out and gives it another shot to try to get back into this main event.
Those lights are on the Ford Mustang. Your race leader, the 70 of Dylan Canova. Second spot going to the 98 of Chris Stump. Jimmy McIntyre in that 81 machine sitting in third. Brian Rogers holding on to fourth place, and rounding out your top five, that is the 96 of Al Smith.
Yeah, Andy Lambert currently sitting on that cut line there. He kind of locked up, as he mentioned, when Al Smith went up the racetrack, came back down. Lambert, I don't know if I didn't get a good look at it. I don't know if he locked up trying to avoid him or just kind of turned his wheel too hard while he was applying the throttle and got loose, but somehow was able to control that car, get himself back into line, and now he sits on the cutoff point and unfortunately on that outside lane as we go back double file and get ready to restart this.
Now here we go one more time on this LCQ. Ford Mustang out of the way. Canova, Stump sitting 1 and 2. Green flag coming out. The 70 gets a huge jump. The 81 and the 98 look like they got caught napping. Dylan Canova timed that one perfectly.
I would say Stump especially got caught napping. He's going to have to slot back down into third as McIntyre cleanly gets away and gets a good run. Looking back now at our cutoff point, Colin Phillip in the 53, he's now in that last spot. He's trying to hold off the 64 of Andrew Plank, who's dropped back. Actually, no, Andrew, sorry, they swapped positions. Plank is in the 8th spot, and he's trying to hold off Jeremy Watkins, who's on the outside looking in right now.
Watkins in the 77 machine, tucked in behind the 64 of Plank. And Watkins having what I will say is the most festive paint scheme I have seen here tonight. I got to give props to the Al Smith elf costume, but this 77 really looks solid. Hopefully it makes it into the A main here. Love to watch that thing go around the track a couple more times.
The wrap job that is truly a wrap job, as the 77 looks to be completely covered in wrapping paper. Looking back up to the front though, Dylan Canova, he has opened up a huge lead. It's almost a full second over Chris Stump, and Canova really wanting to secure his place in this A main. Looks like the 81 of Jimmy McIntyre has gotten shuffled out of the lower lane, and that is going to cost him. He now gets door to door with Al Smith, who's trying to get himself back up into within that top 5 now through. So he is in 4th place after starting 4th, so he's basically back where he started before he kind of got loose. And now the 8 of Lambert, he's also going to get to the inside of McIntyre. McIntyre has got to find his way to that bottom lane once again.
We go on board with the 53 of Colin Phillip. The 81 has a slot to dive down to the inside of here. And McIntyre and Phillip going to go single file here. We got 4 laps to go, as this LCQ is really starting to wind down. Now make it 3 laps. Dylan Canova still continuing to lead out here in this one. Chris Stump giving chase. Chris Stump has set the fastest lap of this LCQ, but may not be enough to take the win. He's definitely in that position to transfer.
Yeah, the position to transfer and a decent starting spot, is that position will be good enough for 8th once this heat race is over, this LCQ is over. Dylan Canova still holding off Stump, but Stump has really closed up that gap. That gap went from a full second. Now as we come down to the white flag, that gap is only going to be 0.6 of a second. So within just about 4 or 5, or about 5 or so laps, Stump has closed up that gap like crazy, and unfortunately probably not going to have enough time to chase him down.
Now Stump right there, but Dylan Canova off of turn number 4. Canova gonna pick up the LCQ victory and put his name as one of the drivers to make it into the A main. Chris Stump, Brian Rogers, Al Smith Jr., Andy Lambert, Jimmy McIntyre, Colin Phillip, and Andrew Plank all make it in.
So Watkins, Krybick, McDuff, Eddy, and Carpenter all currently awaiting. I think, hold on, I'll have to double check that. I think I may have just heard over the radio that everyone will start the feature, so they may not be sending those 3 drivers home. Let me see if we can get in contact here with the admins and see if that is the case.
All right, so while we wait for that word, warm-up has started. It's going to be a brief little warm-up session. And while that is going on, how about we step away and honor the 2 countries being represented by the drivers here tonight. No one go anywhere. We'll be back after our national anthems.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by M&M Country Store, Dr. Noy's Custom Paint and Diecast, Coach's Corner, Kabang Energy Candy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the drivers are wrapping up their warm-up session. A little bit less than 1 minute remaining in this practice session. A lot of drivers turning some time here, trying to get in as much laps as they can. The 75 of Mike Alexander, one of those drivers out there trying to put in some last minute adjustments.
Yeah, everyone just trying to get their get a feel for this track one last time before we go to the main event. It is going to be quite a lengthy race. I mean, 100 laps around here will take some time. But I mean, if they keep it clean, these laps will tick away quite quickly. And I think a lot of these guys, it's just at this moment using this to kind of maybe figure out how to set up a pass. And that's going to be extremely important here. I mean, it's going to be a lot easier to pass than it was at Oxford Plains, but I still wouldn't say it's easy to pass at Martinsville.
Yeah, it does take some effort setting it up. You do have to get a good run coming up off the corner, and then use that momentum the entire time you are down the straightaway. But here we go. We're getting ready to fire him off. And Kelly, I don't know about you, but this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's get right into our starting lineup for the Kabang Energy 100. Matthew Barkhouse on the inside of row number 1. On the outside, the 17 of AJ Rogers. Row number 2 will be the 181 of Gareth Gonder and the 39 of Bill Martin. Row 3 will be the 51 of Justin Fuller and the 6 of Joe Schaefer. Row 4 will be the 13 of Guillaume Fortin and the 75 of Mike Alexander. Row number 5 will be the 18 of AJ Hamill and the 11 of Brian Hacker.
Row number 6 sees the 42 of Brett Bartels on the inside and the 99 of Justin Rigsby lined up alongside him. Steph Marinac rolling off a little further back than he's normal. He'll be starting in 13th with Matt McLean in the 88, who is outside in 14th. Justin McDuff will roll off on the inside of row number 8 with the 03 of Speedy Brissett on his outside. Dylan Canova, after his dominating win in the LCQ, will be starting in 17th. And Chris Stump on the outside of row number 9. Row number 10, rounding out the top 20, is going to be the 12 of Brian Rogers and the 96 of Al Smith.
And row number 11 will be the 8 of Andy Lambert and the 22nd starting spot, Jimmy McIntyre in the 81. Row number 12, Colin Phillip in the 53, Andrew Plank in the 64, Jeremy Watkins in the 77, and Drew Krybeck in the outside of row 18. Wayne McDuff, Matt Eddy, and Jeremy Carpenter going to round out this field here tonight as we get ready to go green flag racing. Pace car gonna peel off this time, and Kelly, why don't you take us to this green flag?
And as mentioned before, just before the commercial break, that was the announcement. Every driver is starting, so we have 29 drivers instead of 26. So Matthew Barkhouse leading this huge field down towards the green flag, waiting for that flag man to drop it so he can drop the hammer. Green flag flies, and we're going to see who's going to win this race into turn 1. The 17 of AJ Rogers still even up with him on that outside. We'll see if he can carry the speed off the corner. Big checkup for Gareth Gonder in that 181. That stacks up the field a little bit, and that's going to allow that 17 to slot down into the single file line. Behind them, though, the 51 of Justin Fuller. He's at the inside of Bill Martin. He's trying to take away a position, and he's going to get a little loose off of turn 4, and that's going to allow Bill Martin to keep even with him on that outside.
So Martin hanging tough in that outside lane. You know as well as I do, that is not something that is easy to do. It looks like we have a huge stack up in turns 1 and 2. The yellow flag coming out. Not sure who all was involved in that one.
Looks like it started with the 8 of Lambert getting turned, and then everyone stacking up behind them. Couple cars getting turned around, and one car, I think it was the 112, actually ends up on his roof. For the most part, everyone else, though, just a little turnaround and able to get it back underway, but that 112 having to take a tow. That's very unfortunate for him. Someone that was probably a bit excited to see that caution, that was Bill Martin. He was all sorts of out of shape off of turn 2, lost a lot of momentum, but the caution came out to save him from losing too many spots.
So the first yellow flag of the night coming out, and it looks like maybe it really started coming off at turn number 4. The 42 of Brett Bartels stacking the field up a little bit, and then calamity behind there. And the 12 machine of Krybeck should never have been turned upside down in that situation. I think iRacing needs to take a look at that one.
Yeah, so Matthew Barkos was able to hold on to the race lead, but he was under a lot of pressure from AJ Rogers. I mean, he hadn't been able to open up much of a gap, but at the same time, Rogers just hadn't been able to take a look to that inside. A little bit of shuffling toward in our top group. I mean, Justin Fuller was able to move up position. Schaefer was able to move up position. But Martin, on the other hand, he lost 2 spots from that bit of a skid that he had. But before that, he was actually surprisingly holding tough on that outside lane. He was carrying some good momentum through the corner. But I think it was just kind of he was asking a little too much of those cold tires, and it almost came back to bite him.
So as we take a look at our race information for tonight's Kabang Energy 100, beautiful track temperature, 80 degrees on that track temperature, 77 degrees here tonight. Martinsville Speedway, of course, just at a half mile in length. Coach's Corner 125, finishing results, the top 5 being Justin Fuller, Mike Alexander, Guillaume Fortin, Bill Martin, and Trey Edson. And right now, Bill Martin and Justin Fuller looking to put themselves back into another top 5 as they're going to restart this one in 4th and 6th place. But Matthew Barkhouse and AJ Rogers on the front row for this restart. As we get ready to send them loose once again, the 15 gets a good restart. Here comes the 81 of Gareth Gonder to the inside of the 17 of AJ Rogers. Gonder gonna take the spot away with a good restart there that time.
Yeah, things looked a little, don't know what happened with AJ Rogers up at the front there. It looked like he just wanted to go, thought Barkhouse was going, then had to jam on the brakes, and now we have another caution. Who has gone around this time? Looks to be the 81 and the 88 stuck up near the wall in turns 3 and 4.
So the 81 going around of Jimmy McIntyre. Take another look at this one. Matt Eddy getting involved, Matt McLean involved. One more time here as we see big contact with Plank as well. We rode on board with Jeremy Carpenter. And man, that was a hard impact in the outside wall for the 81 machine.
Yeah, and he wasn't really involved in the initial incident. He was just kind of running along the outside, and there's just that stack up on the inside. McLean got hooked, and there was nothing the 81 could do. He was already alongside that 88, and suddenly the nose of that 88 was in his window, shoving him to that outside wall. So the hard impact for that 81. He's now coming down pit road to see if he can fix it up a little, because that car probably isn't tracking too straight.
So a tough break for Jimmy McIntyre as he makes his way into his pit stall. The 96 Al Smith already sitting on pit lane. Matthew Barkhouse continuing to lead. The 81 of Gareth Gonder sitting in second. AJ Rogers third. Fourth right now going to Joe Schaefer, and Justin Fuller in the 51 going to round out your top 5. And it sounds like an assassin just killed Kelly. That's okay. He will be missed.
Trying to speak as I kind of inhale some water. But Barkhouse having some good restarts, able to kind of get himself ahead. Gonder also, again, a good restart that last time, was able to slip by that 17 of AJ Rogers. Schaefer moving his way up as well. That is someone that you have to really keep an eye out for. Schaefer and Fuller, those are some very quick drivers, along with Fortin. So a very strong front of the field here tonight.
So the lights stay on the Florida Mustang. We're going to cycle around one more time. So far, our biggest mover in this race, that is the 1W of Wayne McDuff. He has gained 9 positions since the start of this thing. Right now, he is sitting in 18th spot. And other than that, no one has really moved forward a whole lot. Andrew Plank has gained 7 spots, and Plank is just ahead of Wayne McDuff.
Yeah, lights are going to go out on the pace car this time around, I believe. So this will set us up for our next restart. We're going to see if any of these other guys are going to be able to make any moves. We are 13 laps into this 100-lap feature, so there's still a lot of time left in this race. And hopefully we will be able to get a nice green flag run on this next start.
Keep in mind, these drivers are not able to come down pit road and pit 4 tires. There's no tires allowed in this race other than the ones that you start on. So as we get deeper into this race, we might see a few more drivers move to the front and some drop to the back. As Matthew Barkhouse gets on the throttle, the green flag comes out. Gonder in the 81 going to slot into second spot there. Meanwhile, the 17 a little crossed up as Justin Fuller is going to give him a tag, and Fuller gets back up off of him. However, he's going to take advantage. They're 3 wide into turn 1. Mike Alexander all the way up to the top.
Alexander going to be able to gather it back up, get back into line. A little bit of scrape from the wall from both him and that 20 of McDuff, but somehow these guys up front able to hold on even after that 3 wide battle into turn 3. Bit of problems for AJ Rogers. He moves way back now, dropped from 2nd all the way to 6th over these last few laps, and hopefully he's going to gather it back up. Looks like he got a little loose off of 4 that time, but still able to fend off a charging Bill Martin, who as well is trying to turn things around after dropping back a few spots. Again, though, 17 getting loose off of turn 2.
The 18 machine of AJ Hamill, another Christmas paint scheme. As everyone throwing out their Christmas paint schemes, this will be the last race heading into our holiday seasons. So the 18 machine looking very solid here as well in that gussied up paint wrap job, whatever you want to call it. Right now he is sitting in 8th spot. Justin McDuff in the 20 machine has moved into 9th. He has gained 6 positions since the drop of the green flag. Mike Alexander in that 75 machine, after being stuck in that outside lane of a 3 wide battle, the 75 has settled back in line and finds himself in 10th spot.
Yeah, up in the front though, Matthew Barkos, Gareth Gonder, both have kind of broken away from the rest of the field. Almost about half a second between Gonder and Schaefer Jr. sitting in 3rd. So this kind of front pack, they're battling hard, but at the same time, this may be costing them in tires as they're both kind of pushing each other to their limits. And now it seems like Schaefer is just trying to drag them just a little bit closer.
So as the 15 and the 81 are out in front, the 6 of Joe Schaefer is closing in on him. And that ought to scare the rest of this field. If that 6 of Joe Schaefer ever gets to the front, he becomes a bear to pass. He gets that sniff of victory lane and he follows it almost every time the rest of the way. So we'll see if that 6 can get out there. The 13 of Guillaume Fortin, he wants a win as well. And that 13 all over the back bumper of the 6.
Yeah, the 6 and the 13 in practice, both of them were extremely fast. The 6, they're actually both the top 2 in our practice time. So I'm sure Matthew Barkos and Gareth Gonder are watching those 2 behind them, trying to hope that they'll maybe battle each other and take each other out. And here comes Justin Fuller as well, just giving a little tap to that 13 machine. So Fuller has got some speed and he wants to show it. Now taking a look to see if he can dive to the inside, and he will get to the inside of Guillaume Fortin going through turn 3 and 4.
So Fuller makes the move to the inside, put Fuller into 4th, Guillaume falling to 5th, and now right behind Guillaume in that 13 machine, the 39 of Bill Martin.
And this lead group is getting closer. Gareth Gonder has gotten back up to the rear bumper of Barkos once again. Schaefer still trying to chase them down, but he's getting closer and closer. So these guys up front, they have to be careful. We are only a quarter of the way through this race. They have to make these tires last the whole way, but if they keep pushing hard like this, they may start burning off that right front. And Schaefer still trying to get himself into this battle, and Gonder just looking for maybe a way that he can get a better run off of a turn to get around Barkhouse, as he looks to have, looked like that time he was trying to maybe get the momentum on the outside as he got in the throttle early.
These super late models are a very throttle control type of car. It really lulls you into a sense of you can lay into the throttle and really feel like you're going fast, but you really aren't. You've really got to use that throttle in a way that's precise and magical. And the 81 of Gonder working over the back bumper of that 15 as he tries to get to the inside. We'll see if he can do it again off of the corner. Gonder not able to get quite the run he had last lap, but Matthew Barkhouse continuing to lead.
And those taps can maybe also just try to send your opponent into the next corner. You may be trying to just give him a tap through the maybe through turns 1 and 2 and hope that he'll push hard into 3, blow his braking point, and go wide because he's trying to keep himself ahead of you. So Gonder just really trying to put the pressure on Barkhouse, hope for a mistake to be forced and maybe for a gap to open up for him. Caution though will fly once again. We'll have to see where the cars are stopped. Looks to be on the exit of turn 2. A lot of cars, one on its roof again, but looks like the 88 gonna flip back over.
So contact happening and a huge pileup off of turn number 2. There is a lot of stack up going on that one.
And that is the second car we've had tonight to wind up on their roof. Somehow though, that 88 just kept kind of rolling and slowly rolled back onto his wheels. But yeah, there was a lot of chaos there as everyone tried to get themselves back, pointed in the right direction and back into line. I think a few drivers may have lost a lap from having to be sat still there while everyone kind of drove past them.
Yeah, oh man, that 88 again. If you look at the physics of it, that car should not have flipped over. I think iRacing has got something wrong. That is a very gentle tap into the wall in an angle that does not need to send it up and over.
Well, he was lucky though. He did kind of, like I said, he kept his momentum, was able to roll back over. That's not really gonna cost him too much as he didn't have to tow, but yeah, it is definitely not a position you want to be in. You want to keep the shiny side up and make sure the all four tires stay on the ground in these cars.
All right, so with that being said, we are going to step away for a quick break. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this one.
Kabang Energy Candy contains 100% of vitamins B6, B12, and C, plus ginseng. And the best part is, no caffeine. Kabang Energy Candy is sold everywhere, including participating Walgreens. Kabang Energy Candy, it's bangalicious.
Bowling brings people together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
Do what you can do, man.
Wait.
That's a strike right there. Woo! Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by M&M Country Store, Dr. Noy's Custom Paint and Diecast, Coach's Corner, Kabang Energy Candy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as the field is starting to stack up 2 by 2. We're getting ready to fire them off once again. Matthew Barkhouse continuing to lead. Gareth Gonder right there in that 81 trying to take the lead away. And Kelly, we're going to have another restart here.
Yeah, Gonder was all over the bumper of the 181, or the 15 last time. We'll have to see what they're going to do on this restart. Pace car now down and away. These two guys already not waiting. They aren't waiting for the green flag. They're already door to door. And there goes the 15 now as he takes off out of turn 4. And the 181 of Gareth Gonder, he's not going to slot in behind him. He's going to try to see if he can make the outside lane work. He does not want to be behind that 15 car anymore, what he is going to be forced to is now he's going to actually take a peek to the inside into turn 3, thinks better of it and stays back. Now that 51 of Justin Fuller, he's stuck on that outside lane, but we have got to keep an eye on this battle for the lead because it is definitely heating up.
Yeah, Gareth Gonder in that 81 really took a big chance there when he tried that outside lane. That left the door open for the 6 of Joe Schaefer to stick his nose under him, but somehow Gonder would not be denied. And I am telling you what, this rookie, Gareth Gonder, might be out for blood here at Martinsville.
He wants to get himself a race win, and he is on the cusp of it. He's trying everything he can to get around this 15 car. I don't think Gonder doesn't even have a top 5 on the season, so he is in a very good position and wants to make the most of it, and really has to make the most of it if he wants to have any sort of chance to make it into the chase, as he's missed 2 races and there is only 1 drop week. So he is basically under the gun and has put a lot of pressure on that 15, but at the same time, he has got some very fast drivers behind him. Schaefer, Fuller, 410, and Martin, just the top 4, or sorry, the next 4 drivers behind him. Those are some big names, and they've also got AJ Rogers attached to that group as well, just behind them. So a very tough group to be filling your rear view mirror. But here comes the 18. He's actually going to get into the rear quarter of the Barkhouse, nearly turns him, and Gonder wants to get in front, and he is not going to let that 15 hold him up. Again, he gets in the back end, nearly turns him once more, and he's going to move him out of the way. Here comes Gareth Gonder to the inside now, down the back straightaway.
Gonder with a bold move there, gonna take the spot. He muscles the 15 up and out of the way. Gareth Gonder to the front, and he is gonna lead his first lap of the race. Matthew Barkhouse now in a very difficult position, as the yellow flag is going to come out, and that could save Barkhouse, as we have a huge stack up once again. And let's see what happens here. I believe the 88 is going to get involved in another one. He shuts it down. It looks like the 20 machine. Take another look at this one, as I'm not entirely sure what has happened just yet. There were several cars involved in this one.
Yeah, it looks to start with AJ Hamill after a huge checkup in the group in front of them, basically because of the 181 and 15 going at it. Everyone behind them kind of checked up, and the accordion effect caught the 20 and the 18, caused them to go around, and everyone else just kind of plowed on into them. And about 5 cars involved in that one. Looked to be all about the 18, 20, 11, 12, 88, the 70, and the 24 gets a little piece of it, but for the most part able to get through. But not a very high speed crash, not very high impact either. So these drivers should, for the most part, be okay, hopefully.
So a couple of drivers making their way on the pit road to try and hammer out some of this damage that they have received. Justin McDuff going to go 1 lap down because of it. Brett Bartels sitting on pit lane now. No tires, as I mentioned, are available to these drivers. We're creeping up on the halfway point. And Kelly, I don't know about you, but when I drove these super late models, I can tell you, tires are everything to these cars, and if you haven't taken care of it, it's really going to hurt you.
Yeah, you have to baby that right front. That is the tire that will win or lose you that race. If you wear it off too much, you're just going to plow into these corners. But at the same time, with the power that's in these super late models, you can also burn off the rear from getting too hard on the throttle, and that could definitely be a something that a concern tonight. Because you've seen a lot of these guys come off the corners and get a little bit sideways as they hammer down the throttle as they come from a low speed corner. So they're going to have to be very careful with their car and their tires, and if they want to make this race a competitive one, because as we've mentioned, you have no tires in the pits. What you start on is what you finish on.
Lights go out on the Ford Mustang. They're going to stack up 2 by 2. Gareth Gonder, Matthew Barkhouse. This time they have switched positions. on this restart. The 81 for the first time to the inside. The 15 now going to be restarting from the outside of row number 1. Joe Schaefer, Justin Fuller sitting in row number 2. Row number 3 will be Guillaume Fortin and Bill Martin. And here we go, the 81 and the 15. How much animosity does the 15 have towards the 81? Maybe not enough, but maybe just enough to make the 81 sweat.
And the 15 nearly lost the position there with Joe Schaefer. As soon as he crossed the start-finish line, when he was allowed to make his move, he had to drop down. Oh, big problems for the 13. He goes around, and he is hard into the wall on the entrance of turn number 3. And that is definitely going to be a disappointing feeling for that 13 car who'd been running so strong tonight and now has some pretty hard damage to the left side of his car. Looking like he just got hooked there by the 51, and most of the wrecks that we've had tonight have been low speed wrecks. I think that's the hardest hit we've had, as they were basically not even under braking yet.
Several other cars getting involved in this incident. 77 was able to pull to a stop.
And they are going to place the fault for that one on Justin Fuller very quickly. I believe Fuller kind of raised his hand and said, that was my fault, that was my bad, and he will be moving towards the back. So a couple of fast drivers taken out of the top 5 in an instant there. But the 13 receiving that heavy damage that will likely hinder him for the rest of the night, and the 51 getting moved all the way to the back of the field.
Take one more look at this one on board the 87 of Matt Eddy. So as Eddie got turned around, threw it in reverse and tried to roll backwards, and finally does a spin and gets it pointed in the right direction.
Well, we are gonna cross our halfway point here under this caution, and I'd like to mention tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Kabang Energy Candy. Kabang Energy Candy is a delicious, juicy, fruity, hard-shelled, sweet and sour candy with an exploding center. Comes in 4 awesome flavors: cherry, watermelon, grape, and apple. So keep an eye out for some Kabang Energy Candy, and if you are able to get your hands on some, make sure you let them know that it was the Upstate Racing League and Turn 3 Racing Network that brought you to them.
As we enjoy some Kabang Energy speed shots right here. Cars making their way around under caution flag conditions. Garrett Gonder, your race leader. Matthew Barkhouse sitting in second. Joe Schaefer third. Bill Martin fourth. AJ Rogers rounding out your top 5. Guillaume Fortin all the way down in the 22nd spot. Justin Fuller in 21st. So those two drivers are going to be fun to watch make their way through this field. They got plenty of speed to get it done.
And Matthew Barkhouse's first restart not in the lead was not a very productive one. He almost lost a spot to Joe Schaefer Jr., but as soon as he was able to change lanes after crossing the start-finish line, he quickly dropped down to the inside to kind of close off that lane that Schaefer would have had there. So a good heads-up driving from Barkhouse to at least make sure that he crossed that start-finish line first and did not panic.
Pace car down and away. Barkhouse, Gonder, nose to tail, side by side. Here we go. Gonder gets a good jump. Barkhouse trying to hold on. He's going to cut across the nose of the 6 of Schaefer. A little bit of contact, and around goes Gonder and Barkhouse.
And we could have maybe seen that one coming. It looked like the 15, though, was so focused on trying to hold off Schaefer and just kind of got himself a little bit of a tap into the braking zone, which sent him to the inside of that 181. But that's going to take our 2 lead drivers and drop them all the way to the back.
So a tough break for the 81 and the 15, and a lucky break for the 15 as he was up in the air, about ready to flip over. And man, I tell you what, I cannot recount the last time I have seen so many cars get airborne here at Martinsville.
I thought you were about to say here in the Upstate Racing League, and I was going to say last week at Oxford Plains with the drivers hitting, a couple drivers hitting those dirt mounds, and now looks like Gareth Gonder actually going to be losing a lap, so he was not able to get his car fired in time, and looks like he has to let the pace car by. However, he does seem to be ahead of the leader, Joe Schaefer, so he will get a wave around once the one to go is given. So not a huge issue for the 181. He's not going to be completely down a lap, but he is going to be down in the last place on the lead lap.
Matt McLean in the 88 on the throttle. Looked like maybe he got the wave around. He flashes by the field. And I do want to point out, Speedy Brissett in the 03, that's 3 A mains in a row he has made here tonight. He is tearing it up after putting in a lot of effort and not making the show to start off this season. He's now made them 3 in a row.
Yes. You'd have to remind me, I think that might be the first time he's qualified his way in, as he was able to take that last spot in the time trials, and he's actually been able to move himself up a little bit. He's now sitting in 13th, just on the outside of the top 10. This next restart will be single file, so a few of these guys may have a chance if they get a good enough run down into turn 1, but now they've just finally figured out who was at fault for that last crash, and it is Joe Schaefer Jr. who is being sent to the back. So he looks like he was given the penalty for kind of getting into the back of that 15 and sending him into turn 1.
Man, that is a tough break. Man, that I'd hate to be an admin and make that call right there.
Yeah, definitely a tough call, one that does not sound to be very popular over the radio, but he is going to be dropped all the way to the back now. So it's going to completely change up our front. Now Mike Alexander will hold on to the race lead over Bill Martin, AJ Rogers, Dylan Canova, and Justin Rigsby rounding out the top 5.
Lights have gone out on the pace car. Single file restart on this one. The 75, the 39, and the 17, your top 3 as we get nose to tail here. Everyone's starting to bunch up. Keep in mind that 24, Stefan Marinak, not too far back. Mike Alexander, though, wastes no time getting to the throttle. Dylan Canova spun the tires a little bit. The 99 of Rigsby, not able to take advantage of it just yet, but Rigsby going to try and take a peek to the inside.
Yeah, Alexander saw what happened on the last restart, didn't want anyone anywhere close to him, so as soon as he entered that restart zone, he fired off and ran away, but Bill Martin has already started to reel him in. There was 0.3 of a second when they started this this green flag run, already down after 1 lap to 0.2 of a second, so Bill Martin already getting right up to the bumper of that 75.
Mike Alexander, your race leader, and Alexander laid down a good lap, but let me tell you, Bill Martin just laid down the fastest lap of the race at a 19.74.
That is a very quick lap at this, especially at this stage of the race. We are over the halfway point. These tires are not fresh anymore, and Bill Martin still putting down some very quick times, now getting right up to that bumper of the 75. Getting a little too early on the throttle that time, I think, and that's going to lose him that ground. And take a look through the field. It seems that pretty much everyone is single file for the most part here.
We take a look at our Hanson Starter Shop blimp cam. Everyone in the first few 100 spots, it would seem, all single file. Mike Alexander, your race leader, Bill Martin, trying to challenge him for that lead. AJ Rogers sitting in third.
Down to the 12 as well, and I think the 12 though is actually, yeah, Drew Krybeck is a couple laps down after taking his tumble on that first caution, so that wasn't a position that Schaefer just picked up, but he has picked up 4 spots since he dropped the green flag on this latest restart.
Well, I'm not sure what happened there, but I blinked out for a moment, but it looks like I'm back. Hi, what'd I miss?
Well, everyone is still single file. Mike Alexander still leading this. Bill Martin, though, has actually lost a bit of ground to the 75. So 75 showing his pace here tonight. He was slightly faster than Martin in practice, but their practice time's extremely close.
Well, alrighty. Well, it is what it is, I guess. Not sure what entirely happened, but here we go. We're going to reset everything and fire back off. That was really wild. Sorry, everyone. I have never seen that before in probably 4 years of broadcasting.
Well, that is one issue that arises when you work with computers and work with the internet is the unexpected can always happen, and we really have to adjust for that. But this battle for the race lead kind of starting to heat up as Martin's starting to reel in that 75 just a little bit and almost now to the rear bumper of him.
AJ Rogers in the 17 just smacking the wall as he came off of turn number 4. A gentle tap there. Doesn't look like it's torn the car up too much, but Dylan Canova in the 70 following right behind him. And Canova now carrying us with an on-board shot. This 70 machine out of Lakeland, Florida, all over the back bumper of AJ Rogers.
Yeah, it is. Canova has made some huge moves. As we mentioned, he came up through the LCQ. He did not have very much pace in practice or in qualifying, but as soon as the green flag has come out, he has opened up the throttle, opened up the taps, and he's come up from 17th, now finds himself in 4th and looking to make one more move here on the 17 of AJ Rogers as he is closing up now within 0.2 of a second.
Check in on a driver we haven't talked a whole lot about in this race. That is the 98 of Chris Stump. He finds himself in 9th place in this 98 machine, trying to track down the 11 of Brian Hacker Jr. Brian Hacker Jr. What? Oh my gosh. So the 11 of Hacker, probably because he's got Al Smith Jr. on his hood. I'm thinking that's what I was going with that one. That's what Quarter
also
loss
got Brian Rogers Jr. right behind him as well, so Stump kind of smacked right between two Brians.
There we go. Maybe I'm just not all there tonight. But am I ever? So Chris Stump in the 98 machine in 9th spot. Brian Rogers Jr. right behind him. Al Smith, who is caught up in an incident or two here tonight, finding himself in 11th, trying to peek into the top 10 as he dives down to the inside of the 12 of Brian Rogers, and he has got that 10th spot.
And look how banged up those two race cars are. This is some real short track racing that a car can get torn up like that and still be competitive enough to run in the top 10, especially in a competitive field like this. So some real hard fought battles on this racetrack tonight. A couple drivers being caught up in some big stack ups, and now looking back up to the field, Bill Martin and Mike Alexander, they have checked out from the rest of the field. Pretty much a 1.5 seconds separates the front pair between the second pair of AJ Rogers and Dylan Canova, who are also starting to battle things out as Canova starts to close up that 17.
So as the 70 still hunting down the 17, that battle rages on. Bill Martin, Mike Alexander continuing to battle it out. But Steph Marinak, for the first time here tonight, is in the 5th spot, and he is running a Mandalorian paint scheme. And I'll tell you what, I have been enjoying that show. I don't know about you, but it's been a good one on Disney. And that 24 looking very solid to represent that show here tonight.
I don't have Disney Plus, so I haven't seen a single episode, but you know, eventually one of these days I'll find a way. But looking up towards the front again, Mike Alexander, he's getting closer to some lap traffic. He got the 77 right in front of him, as well as the 7. The Watkins and Carpenter, the two Jeremys, going to have to get out of the way and yield to the leaders here. And I think the 77 is just going to go way up the racetrack. Yet there he goes through turn 1 and 2. Going to get out of the way, stay completely clear of these two battling cars. As you kind of see, he's probably seen how heated these front drivers can get.
As we ride on board with Mike Alexander, Dr. Noise himself, the 39 of Bill Martin, not giving him a chance to catch his breath as he has to now navigate around the 7 machine of Jeremy Carpenter, and the yellow flag coming out on this one.
That's going to save him from going a lap down. Looks like Colin Phillip in the 53. He's stopped sideways on the back stretch. And that's another incident that could be involving the 51. That was a hard hit for that 53 on that inside wall.
Take a look at this one. The 53 gets a little bit loose going into the corner. Fuller taking a peek to the inside. Fuller was down low, and I don't believe Phillip understood just where he was on the track. It looked like he maybe tried to come across the nose.
He definitely exited a lot lower than that 51 was expecting, and it looked like Phillip, instead of opening up his corner exit, was tightening it down and just left that 51 with nowhere to go. But we'll see what the race control is going to deem this and see who they're going to call for this one. But that 53 is going to take the worst of it no matter what. He's now down pit road trying to get some of that damage fixed.
I don't know about you, but that was a very long green flag run. I just now realized there's 19 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, laps are ticking down quickly, and I think Martin trying to mess with Alexander a little bit as they come down the front straightaway, kind of showing him how close he can get his car to that rear bumper. And I think that might be the closest, though, that Martin has been these last few laps, because Alexander was holding some good pace. I mean, Martin was fast and keeping up with him, but I don't think there was any point where he got up and laid the bumper to that 75. So we'll have to see once this race goes green again. Not too many laps left. See if Martin is going to maybe lay the bumper to him to try to take the win.
Mike Alexander in the 75 does not have a win yet on the season, but he came into tonight second place in, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing, but still, Mike Alexander has been a solid driver all season long. If he can come away with another solid finish here, he might have a chance at the win and then really locking himself into the championship battle.
Yeah, top 10 in points after the next race, which will be in 3 weeks time from today. That will be our chase field. However, there will be one drop race, and this is the last race you can drop. You can't drop the last race of the regular season. Basically, they want it so that everyone knows where they stand going into the final race of the regular season. But after tonight, everyone's worst race will be dropped, and we will go into North Wilkesboro, basically knowing how everything's going to shape for the chase.
So with the lights going out on the Ford Mustang, we're going to get the green flag with 15 laps to go. Mike Alexander looking for that first win this season. Bill Martin looking for his third. Here we go. Alexander on the throttle. A little bit of wheel spin from everyone at the front, but Alexander really getting that gap that he needs to go into turn one unchallenged. Bill Martin trying to close in on him.
And I think Alexander just had the advantage of knowing when he would start. He could easily get on the throttle while everyone else was kind of jumping onto it to react and broke those tires loose. That was especially the case for Bill Martin. Did not get the best start, however, still able to hold his position. Big battle, though, for third place. AJ Rogers holding off Dylan Canova on the outside. And here comes Steph Marinac now to the inside of that 70 machine. Marinac not happy with just the top 5. He wants to move himself up into the top 3.
So Marinac making a move to the inside. Marinac now in 4th place as he begins tracking down AJ Rogers. And after Steph Marinac has missed 2 races, he needs all the points he can to put himself into this championship battle. And he is all over the back bumper of the 17.
Yeah, Stefan Marinac in the rare position for him on the outside looking into the chase. And he's now going to take a look to the inside of the 17, force that 17 to stay high And now Marinac gonna completely get himself on that inside line. Now door to door with the 17. He's gonna beat Rogers across the stripe that time. And now gonna have the preferred line through turns 1 and 2. Now completes the pass. Dylan Canova getting a little bit of a glimpse of that inside. Gonna have the door open, not enough. The 17 of Rogers able to get ahead and shut the door. So Marinac secures a 3rd place position. 9 laps to go next time by. And Bill Martin and Mike Alexander have taken off once again.
Top 2 have pulled away. 10 laps to go in this one. Marinac quickly running out of time, but man, I'll tell you what, that is a spirited drive by the 24. Dylan Canova, another driver who's really moved forward this entire race. He has gained 12 positions from where he qualified at. Our biggest mover so far being that 70 of Canova as he makes his way into the top 5. But Mike Alexander, Bill Martin running 1 and 2, and that 39 looks like he is glued to the back bumper, and he is just waiting for the 75 to make a mistake.
Well, he can't wait for too long. He's gonna have to force something soon as these laps are ticking by. Looks like he got a little loose off of turn 4 that time. That's gonna cost him a bit of time. So for him to even be able to force anything, he has to get up to the bumper of that 75. He's got to close in that last car length that they've got in between him to have any sort of chance of taking away this win.
So now with 6 laps to go, Alexander trying desperately to hold on to pick up his first win. He came into tonight 2nd in the point standings, so a great season for this 75 so far, but this win really gonna put that cherry on top of the icing. He's now got 5 more times around. Bill Martin falling back just a little bit. Marinac in 3rd, pulling away from the 17 of AJ Rogers, and we have some very tight battles all throughout this one.
And Bill Martin leading the points, and that is something we may not have been expecting to say until after the drop, because Iowa, if you remember, he essentially came in last place after getting involved in a very early wreck that took him out. But now he has battled strong and hard throughout the rest of the season, and every other race so far he's been in the top 5 with 2 wins to his name. So Bill Martin, a very tough driver this season, but Mike Alexander really holding his ground here tonight. Just 3 laps to go, and now that 39 is going to get the bumper to the 75. He's going to move him, and the 39 of Martin gets to the inside. So some real short track racing. He's going to try to pull off the bump and run, but Mike Alexander fighting back on the outside, door to door through turns 4. 2 laps to go.
Bill Martin has the preferred line, but Mike Alexander driving like a man possessed, trying to work that high side, but it looks like Bill Martin starting to win out. Alexander really driving in deep. He is trying to leave it all out on the table.
White flag in the air this time by, and it is not over yet. Door to door, 0-0-5 separates those 2 drivers at the stripe this time. That 39 getting the better run through turns 1 and 2, but we've seen how far the 75 and Mike Alexander could drive it into 3 and 4. He's going to keep trying to work that outside line, but it's going to work for Bill Martin, and Bill Martin going to pull off the win at the Kabang Energy Candy 100.
Bill Martin picks up the race win. Mike Alexander comes home 2nd. Stefan Marinac finishing in 3rd. AJ Rogers 4th, and rounding out your top 5 is going to be Dylan Canova.
That was a fantastic race from start to finish. We have had a ton of action, but that last battle between Martin and Alexander, that is the best battle we've had for the lead all season. Pretty much every race has been just a dominating performance by a single driver, but tonight there were so many drivers that had a chance, and it really came down to these last few laps as Alexander did not want to give up the win without a fight, and he really gave it his all to try to take away that win from Bill Martin.
As we get ready to roll into our post-race show, we are going to step away for a moment. No one go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Best Colorful Creations, the official cake supplier of the Upstate Racing League, Carpenter's Tax Service, SUNY's Country Market,
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready to roll into our post-race show. And we're going to start this one off by talking to our race winner, and that is the driver of the 39 machine. Well, that's Dr. Noise himself, Bill Martin. Bill, congratulations on picking up the race win here tonight, man.
Hey, thanks. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. Is that allowed?
It's allowed. I switched off the push button so I didn't have to sit in the chair anymore. I don't know if it sometimes it doesn't work.
Well, it's working now. So, man, tell us about that race, that battle, and what it took to win this one here tonight.
Well, it took a lot of guys screwing up in front of us. Passing was premium, as is tradition, I guess, for the way Martinsville works these days in the iRacing world. Kind of works that way in the real world too, I guess. So I guess it's realistic. But yeah, a bunch of guys running into each other at the front, kind of just handed it to me and Mike to do whatever we wanted to. AJ also. I think both AJs were behind me, weren't they? And yeah, it just worked out. Mike made one mistake on an exit. I don't know if he clipped the curb or not, but something made him back off or turn his car a little sideways, and I just tapped him a little bit, and it was just in that perfect place where I was able to get up next to him. And then we had a really fun side-by-side battle, which clearly if we were still on the old car, he would have spanked me, because the inside, while really, really good right now, he stayed right next to me the whole time. So that tells you how strong he was out there, because you can't, outside sucks now. He stayed out there, and I didn't think I was going to beat him.
Well, you pull off the race win. You pick up your third win of the season. One more race left in the regular season, and you have the points lead. Tell us how much that means to you going into a championship battle.
I've been alive for 40 years, and this is what I've been working towards. This championship right here in the iRacing world. I knew ever since I was 5 years old this is where I was going to be.
Well, I didn't mean it quite like that, but yeah.
Well, sometimes I get yelled at offline because I don't play along with these interviews. I don't take them seriously. So now I'm making up for it, and I'm taking it super seriously.
Well, I got you. Well, we'll make sure that we'll keep it serious from here on out.
Okay,
how
cool.
tall are you?
I am 6 feet tall.
Oh, too tall for me. All right, never mind.
Did you want to go on a date? Am I too tall for you? I'm sorry.
Hell, I mean, you are a race winner. It's raising the stock as far as I'm concerned.
Let me tell you how many times winning races in the real world got me laid. 0 times.
Yeah, true. All right, man. Well, man, again, congratulations on the race win here tonight for the Kabang Energy 100. Any shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give?
I'd like to thank everyone for screwing up in front of me and Mike so we could finish first and second.
All right. Well, there you go. Nice
Thanks,
job,
guys.
Bill, congratulations on your third win of the season. And, man, nice Christmas present for you.
That's, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not having a real Christmas this year, so this'll do.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. That is your race winner, Bill Martin, bringing it home in victory lane. And Kelly, I believe you have caught up with our second place finisher. That is Mike Alexander.
Yeah, caught up now with Mike Alexander, driver of the number 75. And Mike, that was a very hard fought battle at the end. Just walk us through those last couple laps you had with Bill Martin.
Yeah, just can't seem to get one of these races. I thought we were in pretty good shape there, and I was beating him off the corner quite a bit, and I just pushed up a hair, and he just barely tapped me, but it was right when I was getting on the fuel hard, and it snapped around on me. He got under me, but it's another good run, and we'll take it.
Well, before you had the battle for the lead, you had to work your way up there. You started back in 8th after having the best qualifying time. And how did you make your way towards the front?
Well, it's so hard to pass, and the restarts, the top, wasn't your friend. But there was a bunch of guys were getting into it there, and I was just trying to keep my nose clean and just kept picking them off, and then kind of got gifted the lead there, and all around lap 50, 60-ish, and then yeah, I think 3 or 4 guys get into it there, and I just stayed at the bottom and got around them. But it's just so hard to pass, and I don't think without them guys, doing what they did, I would have never got up there.
Well, we're going to have a couple weeks off here before we go back to racing at North Wilkesboro. And how are you feeling about that race ahead of you in the position you're in?
I'm feeling really good. This is a track that I was really not looking forward to coming to. I don't like it here, and I was surprised I was as fast as I was. It seems to happen a lot this year. The tracks that I think I'm going to suck at, I do good at. The tracks that I think I'm supposed to do good at, I suck at. So.
All right. Well, you had a good run here tonight, finishing in 2nd place after a hard-fought battle. And who do you wish to thank for your run here tonight?
The guys over at Rev Racing, all them guys, everybody watching, mom and dad and Samantha and Grampy. I got a pretty good following that watches me every week pretty faithfully, and I like being able to put it on the podium so I can come out and thank them guys, and thank you guys and Al and everybody.
All right, so that was Mike Alexander, driver in the number 75. Thank you for coming and talking to us, Mike, and hopefully we'll hear from you in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. We will have a couple off weeks, but now I believe we're going to be moving on to our 3rd place finisher. And KR, who are you with?
Well, I have caught up with our 3rd place finisher, and that is Stefan Marinak in that 24 machine. Stefan, congratulations on a solid run through the field. That 24, final step of the podium, man.
Yeah, after that first caution, I didn't think we'd have a chance to even get back in the top 10 with how hard it was to pass, but we avoided a bunch of wrecks, and I think I passed like a total of maybe 5 people, like straight up under green, but somehow we went from like 25th to 3rd, so I'll take it.
Well, you end up in 3rd, and I gotta tell you, your paint scheme and your picture here are killing me tonight.
Well, I had to bring out the Beskar car tonight, in honor of the Mandalorian season finale. I knew we'd need it because we bounced off a ton of people. We were involved in a few of those wrecks tonight, so it came in handy. I'm glad we ran the Beskar car.
Well, man, that 3rd place finish was a hard fought one, making your way forward throughout the night. But you missed a few races in the season. We got one more race before we head into the championship battle. How do you feel your chances are to make it into the championship contention?
I'm not sure if the drop week got factored in yet, but if it hasn't, I think we're in good shape. And then I think if it has been factored in already, we'll be pretty close to the cut line. So it might come down to next week for us. But yeah, I knew I was going to miss a couple weeks. And so if we make it, we make it. If we don't, we don't.
All right. Well, Stefan Marinak, this 24 machine, always one to watch every time you come here to the Upstate Racing League on a Thursday night. Once again, final step of the podium. Shout outs or thank yous you'd like to give?
Yeah, just congrats to Bill Martin on winning the race. I'm glad he's fulfilling his lifelong dream of maybe being an upstate champion. I'm very happy for him. And then thank you to Kabang Energy for sponsoring the race, and all my teammates at Empire Racing Team, and you guys for doing the broadcast.
All right, Stefan. Well, man, once again, congratulations on a solid third place finish here tonight.
Thanks.
Well, Kelly, nothing left but wrap this one up and maybe go unwrap some presents.
And we should give him a bit of a rundown through our finishing order, as we had a lot of positions kind of shake up throughout the race, and this was unlike a few of the other races we've had before. Drivers have said that it was difficult to pass here, but there's been more passing tonight than there has been in pretty much any other track this season.
Yeah, Bill Martin, your race winner. Mike Alexander finishing second. Stefan Marinac finishing third. AJ Rogers fourth. Dylan Canova going to round out your top five.
AJ Hamill going to come home in sixth. Brian Hacker seventh. The 99 of Justin Rigsby finishes eighth. Chris Stump is able to work his way up to ninth, and Al Smith Jr. moves up 10 positions to round out the top 10.
Guillaume Fortin finishing 11th. 12th goes to Brian Rogers Jr. Andy Lambert finishing in 13th. 14th, Joe Schaefer Jr. And Matthew Barkhouse going to finish in 15th spot.
Jay Speedy Brissett starts 16th, finishes in 16th. Matt McLean comes home in 17th. Gareth Gonder, after getting caught up in that accident, goes all the way back into 18th. Brett Bartels finishes in 19th, and Matt Eddy finishes 20th.
21st going to Jimmy McIntyre. Jeremy Carpenter finishing 22nd. 23rd, and the final car on the lead lap, that will be Wayne McDuff in the one machine. Justin McDuff going to be the first car one lap down. Justin Fuller in 25th. 26th, Colin Phillip. Jeremy Watkins 27th, and 28th will be Drew Krybeck in the 12 machine, the first car to go upside down here tonight. So Kelly, it is all said and done, and we head into a holiday break here.
Yeah, the driver's going to have a couple weeks off to kind of recompose, think about their last race of the regular season, and when we come back at the start of January, we'll be in North Wilkesboro Speedway. Everyone will know where they stand in the points, as the drop week will be calculated after tonight. And we'll see what these guys are going to do to battle their way into the chase for the championship in North Wilkesboro Speedway. And you're going to want to catch that race, because that's also going to be our throwback weekend. So a lot of drivers are going to be bringing out their throwback cars. We're going to have stories for all these cars, because not all of them are going to be throwback to NASCAR. A lot of these guys will bring back throwbacks to their own local short track heroes. So it is usually one of my favorite races of the season, just to look at all the different paints that these guys come up with.
All right, so until we see you all again on January 7th at North Wilkesboro Speedway for the best colorful throwback, you'll stay safe, have fun, enjoy the holiday season, and we will catch you all next time.
The Upstate Racing League Season 10 on the Turn 3 Racing Network is brought to you by Eddie's Meat Market. Nobody beats Eddie's Meat. Hanson Starter Shop. Racing Designs. CEG Dealer School. Train, play, consult.